Just wanted to ask about, Tyler's status and if you know if Jake will be starting on Saturday or not yet.
Well, Tyler has improved a bunch, status still unknown. We'll determine that a little bit later. Jake has practiced, really well. So we feel confident, obviously, in the room, but we'll have an update hopefully by Friday, closer to game time.
Go to David Wilson of the Miami Herald. David.
Hey, Mario. First one-off topic one I wanted to ask you. Verone, McKinley, and Javon, I don't know if you saw, they played together on Sunday night. Just wondering what your memories were of those two guys and maybe what they did well together back in college as teammates and playing on the field together.
Oh, those guys are special now, special, and especially they're tough-minded guys. We've had conversations here with the media about recruiting and the importance of recruiting. Well, those guys were guys that came to us while we were rebuilding Oregon, at 4-8, 7-6 and whatnot. And Javon played like every position imaginable. Wide receiver, DB, kick returner, punt returner, and just brought a bunch of energy in. And Verone was the same guy. Verone was known in Texas as being like almost like what do you call one of those Swiss Army knife guys. He could do it all. He could do it all. The return game, special teams, tremendous ball skills. Both those guys, just exceptional human beings. Number one, relentless students of the game. Their football IQs are like through the roof and beyond. Insane hard workers, and they were leaders of the team, respectively. I remember Javon did it as a young guy. Javon only had the opportunity to play 2 years before the pandemic hit and getting drafted, and did absolutely unbelievable stuff and helped lead us to a Rose Bowl win and a top 5 finish. And Verone was unbelievable. I'll never forget what Verone did as a team leader when we were headed up to play Ohio State. I don't think they hadn't lost a game in about 6-7 years at home. Kayvon Thibodeau was hurt. 3-4 starters were out. And Verone rounded up the team and the leaders and said, we're going up there to send a message. And lo and behold, broke the streak against an awesome football team on a hard-fought battle. Those guys, forever indebted to them for the incredible experience they brought to myself and everybody associated with that program.
Go to Luke Chaney from All Hurricanes. Luke.
Hey, Coach. What were some of the things that stood out about Virginia's defense from watching them on film?
Well, you like to say it starts and ends up front, and it does a lot for them, but they have tremendous experience on the back end. People don't get behind them. They made tremendous plays on the ball for on-deep shots, contested catches, but particularly last game, the amount of pressure they put on the quarterback, the amount of pressure they put up front, the way they disrupted the line of scrimmage in the run game. They shut down their opponent completely. And it's something that you could tell game by game had been coming on. They put on a tremendous performance. They could run and strike. They're big and physical at linebacker. It carries over to special teams as well. So all in all, it's a really good defense.
Go to David Lang of WPLG. David.
Hey, Coach. Good to talk to you. You've talked a lot about sort of building from the ground up, what you're building with the program, how guys practice, how you recruit, everything that you're doing to rebuild the University of Miami and to build it in the way that you want the program to be. After games like last week, people tend to have knee-jerk reactions because there's not necessarily the manifestations of all that hard work you're putting are showing on Saturdays. So what I'm curious is, what is a fair timetable that people should have who are not inside the program, who don't see the work that you guys are putting in, to where all of that will start showing on game days?
Sure. No, I think it's a great question. I just don't know if it's fair to talk in timetables until there's you have to have a snapshot of what the starting point is, right? Different teams have different starting points. We just talked about two guys, Verone McKinley and Javon Holland. Well, a starting point there is a team that's won the Pac-12 2 out of the last 3 years and won the Rose Bowl. It's a pretty good starting point, right? The starting point here is different. And to me, that's the exciting part. And maybe I view it different. Maybe it hits me different because I played here and, love the place inside and out. It still doesn't, it doesn't interfere with the fact that we have work to do and a ton of work to do. In terms of a timetable, I think that's for a long, long discussion and an A to Z assessment and description of each position, where we have to go, where we are, everything from experience to talent level to depth to scheme adjustments, scheme fits. There's a lot that goes into it. So there's no way, I don't think you could answer that question. And I certainly don't want to dance around the question. What we have to do takes hard work and takes time. It's the best way I can answer it.
Got time for a few more for Coach Cristobal. If you have questions, please get your hands up. We'll go to Susan Miller-Degnan from the Miami Herald. Susan.
Mario, has Tyler Van Dyke practiced this week? And also, how has Jake been handling this week, taking the reps? And if he should play a lot, if Jake should start or play a lot, how do you help keep him calm in this game?
Tyler has practiced very little. Jake has taken a lot of the reps. Jakari's taken a bunch of reps. Peyton Toach has taken a good amount of reps as well. So we're preparing everybody with Jake taking the majority of the reps thus far. So we'll see. We'll see where we are by late Thursday, late Friday.
Go to Marcus Benjamin of Keynes County. Marcus.
Coach, wanted to ask about the injuries to Justice Olawelson and also Ja'Kai Clark. When he left, when Jonathan Dennis was unable to kind of finish the game, Ja'Kai Clark got in, and really it seemed as if the offensive line took a step up in communication. Mm-hmm. So if you could just kind of talk a little bit about, those injuries and also how important Clark is to the offensive line when it comes to communication.
I think I'll try to answer them in order if I remember the order correctly. The first part, Justice injured himself pretty good. We don't expect him back for a while. Jonathan Dennis, his first start at Virginia Tech, had some ups and some downs. He was playing really well and practiced really well all last week until he got hurt, and he was communicating really well. Ja'Kai had sustained an injury against North Carolina, and it took him a while to get healthy. He was close to being fully healthy last week, healthy enough to play, and he played some. He's an extremely valuable member of this offensive line and of this team. He's had a great week and is now fully healthy. So we expect us, to have excellent play from him this Saturday.
All right, got time for two more questions for Coach Cristobal. We'll go to Chris Stockton. We'll wrap it up with Adam Lichtenstein. Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, Coach, just your thoughts on Brendan Armstrong, what you see from him. Obviously, the results are different from a year ago to this year.
I think they might be statistically. They're not in terms of how effective he is and how dangerous he is. He's as talented as it gets. All the pieces are coming together for them. They might have had a couple of bumps along the way, but that guy's pocket presence, understanding of an offense and how to dissect the defense, beat him with his arm, with his feet, extend plays. He's one of those guys. He is. We got a lot of good quarterbacks in the conference, and he's up there. He's as good as you'll see around the country in any conference. So we don't. I guess for us, we don't fall into the trap that, hey, there's maybe a game or two where he didn't hit those numbers, those benchmarks he hit last year. I mean, he is an elite quarterback.
All right, we'll go back to Adam Lichtenstein to wrap it up with Coach Cristobal.
Again, just wanted to ask about the offensive line and run blocking, kind of following up on Marcus's question about with the line being a little depleted by injury. How have you kind of been working on improving offensive line's run blocking particularly?
Mm-hmm. In every possible way we can. Obviously it starts with power, technique, fundamentals, communication, all that stuff. And it's something that you work daily. Certain drills you do every single day, and others you've got to continue to tweak and make adjustments as to what you can do. Some of the stuff that we're used to doing is not applicable right now due to injury and, certain levels of, power or just inexperience or whatnot. But we've gained a lot over time. Keep chopping away. Those are good guys up front. They're tough guys up front. They work really, really hard. Hey, when you've got to move the line of scrimmage against good players, and it's on the line, you've got to come through. And to come through, we got to do everything possible to give them the best chance to be successful.